Welcome, Jake and David. Thank you both for being here today. Um, Before we begin, I want to review the guidelines that we have. The group is intended to be a safe and respectful space. You're each free to share only what feels comfortable. There is no pressure to discuss anything you don't want to discuss. It's common to feel nervous at the beginning of a group, especially when talking with people you don't know well. My role here is to help guide the conversation, make sure everyone feels heard and is given opportunity to participate safely and respectfully. Um, for our time today, I'd like us to focus on understanding how we connect with others. So all three of us, what sometimes gets and what sometimes gets in our way of those kind of connections. We'll also practice expressing thoughts and feelings directly to one another as well. To start, each of you, can you please briefly share what brought you here today and what you hope to gain from today's discussion? We'll start with you, Jake.
Okay, well, yeah, like you said, I'm Jake. What's bringing me here today is like kind of like the word that comes to mind is like I feel like I have an avoidant personality. Like I try to avoid connection. I feel like I'm a little bit scared to open up to people sometimes. Well, most of the time. Like I don't like I'm 28 and I don't really have a lot of meaningful connections with people. I work a job where there's a bunch of people there and like a lot of people hang out before work, which is crazy to me, after work, during work, and I'm kind of just like, like isolated. And I find that like instead of being sad, like I get angry about that. And it's kind of like I feel like I want to get out of that mindset and like those feelings because it's been like that for so long. And I just want to learn some like more healthy behaviors.
Okay, hear you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you sharing. What about you, David? What brings you here?
Hi,
Hey, David.
you can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Um, well, for me, I moved away for college a couple of months ago, and I've been feeling sad and lonely. I've been staying to myself a lot, and I want to learn how to open up to people more. That's that. That's all.
Okay. Thank you both. I appreciate your willingness to be here and share that. So Jake, would you be willing to tell us more about what happens when people annoy you, disappoint you, or having trouble, you know, being
Mhm.
open like you talked about?
Yeah, I think my first instinct like nowadays is just to like I hide it, like I'm not very confrontational with people, like if something happens that annoys me, I'll just like get frustrated like inside my body. And then like when I'm alone, like in my car or something, or like when I finally get home, I'm just like, just like angry, and um so that's pretty much like how my reaction is. Like I just keep it to myself and like explode later on when I, have the opportunity.
And when you say you feel it, is there like a certain place you feel it like in your body?
Um, I feel like maybe like my throat. I don't know why. Like sometimes it feels like I could cry, like I'm so frustrated to like I could cry, but maybe like I'm afraid of that. So
Yeah.
I just like just go with the anger instead. But I think in my throat is where I feel it.
And do you feel it like close up? Do you feel it tense? Do you feel it like almost like you're swallowing something and just something stuck there?
Um, the closest I could explain it is kind of like exactly that, like when you're trying to hold back tears, like when you get choked up, like that kind of feeling.
So you have all these emotions, you're holding them in. What do you think people see when that happens?
Um, I don't know. I've never really thought about that. I feel like uh the feeling that I usually have is like isolation. So to me, like nobody's looking at me long enough to like have an opinion. So I don't really know what they see, or I haven't really thought about it.
All right, so then just to reverse it, and what do you think they don't see?
They probably don't see that, like deep down, I would like to connect with people and like have friends or like have things to do after work and to not be alone all the time.
Okay, that's an important observation. It sounds like that connection, not wanting to feel alone, you know, has this certain feeling and it's guiding you some way right now.
Hmm.
All right. And just to ask you a question, David, as you listen to Jake, what stands out to you?
I can relate to feeling hurt. I don't want to be angry or sad or feel like this. But when I feel hurt, I just go away. I disappear. I isolate myself sometimes for a long time, and I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to stay inside and be alone for who knows how long.
So there's that same feeling of like isolation and feeling alone that you're both expressing. And then
Mm.
from David expressing that, Jake, what is it like hearing David relate to your experience?
It's kind of surprising to me. I I thought that it was like because the feeling is so isolating, it's like only I feel this way, you know? And also with like my work, it seems like everybody else can communicate and like feel things normally. So it's really surprising to me to hear how we kind of handle it similarly.
Yeah, just like it's basically like him telling directly, both of you, both of you are, in different trajectories of your lives, but battling kind of through the same kind of, feelings and emotions,
Mm,
just in different aspects in different ways. But they're all, the same feeling of isolation, feeling of loneliness, wanting to connect, you
mm,
know, here wanting to connect with coworkers, here is wanting to connect and make friends at a new school,
mm,
off to college, So as we go through it, we'll be able to, figure out how we can support, each other. Because even though, I'm not expressing these similar situations, I've been in those kind of situations. So we can all three here, collaborate together and be helpful to
mm,
one another.
mhm,
So I'm noticing, like I was saying, a connection. There's a small connection forming between the two of you,
mhm,
and that's through our emotions and our feelings right now. Even though, your guys' behaviors may be different, the feeling underneath may be similar, you know?
mm.
So David, going with connecting with you now, can you tell us more about what it's like being away from home?
Yeah, it's been really tough. I really miss my friends and my family and everyone else back at home. I feel really sad, but I don't want to tell anyone because I don't want to bother anyone. Like, I don't tell, my teachers or the counselor or my RA or anyone. I've just been, you know, struggling with these feelings inside, just lost.
Yeah. So as you're expressing that right now, what happens when you keep those feelings to yourself?
I just feel even worse. It's like a constant pitfall where I just keep going lower and lower and lower and lower and like, wow. I'm like, I can get lower, but here I am just, I just feel sad. That's all. Like deepening levels of sad, if I can describe it like that.
Yeah. And do you find yourself wanting to like reach out to people, not even people at your school or people that are around you, but like to friends back at home, like texting them or like reaching out to them on social media or anything like that?
Um, Rarely, sometimes, not a lot, because we've kind of like all moved on and do our own things, have our own lives now. So part of me is all like, I don't know if they still want to keep their friendship alive or if they're busy or I don't want to bother them. It's like a whole bunch of things, like overthinking. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I get you. But we'll continue to work on those things and continue to, find the underline and being able to figure out, what's causing us from being able to reach out or just stepping out and being able to ask for support, you know? Um, so, like I said, thank you again for identifying that, and thank you so much for sharing, even though you didn't have to share. I appreciate you being able to feel comfortable. But I was wondering if you could tell Jake directly what it feels like to be alone, you know?
Feels like I'm invisible. Feels like nobody notices. I just feel alone. That's all. You know? Like nobody cares. I mean, I'm sure someone does. Maybe they actually do, but feeling it and knowing it in here, I'm putting it to my heart. You guys can't see.
No, you're
In my
good.
heart. It's like I can't feel it, that people actually care. That's what I feel.
Dave, and what does it feel like hearing that, Jake?
It feels really tough. Just hearing it seems like to me, which is weird to think, is like, I'm sure there's people in your life, David, that do care that you can reach out to. I mean, I'm not sure who comes to mind, but to me, I'm thinking that, there's got to be support somewhere, you know.
What does that feel like to you, Diego, Jake, to be able to hear that?
It feels it's like going back to what I was saying. Like I know like there's people like my parents and my family and stuff like my mind knows that like yeah I know they do care and I know that I'm not alone, but just going through the notion everyday life, I just can't feel it in the inside because I just feel invisible and alone. And in my day-to-day life, you know, I don't know if I can count on, like, sure, I can call my mom, but, she's my mom. Like, of course, like, I'm not trying to undermine or downplay, like, her affection or her love for me. Like, I appreciate that a lot, but, like, your parents, they have to love you. I just want like someone like on a day-to-day basis, someone that I can talk to, someone that I can rely on, in person, not like 300 miles away because my mom's not gonna drive across the country to, help me with my essay or help me move in some new furniture that I got, something like that. Just
Okay.
feels like it's always been me alone, and I kind of find it hard to find someone to talk to, every day, find someone to rely on. It's been really tough, this whole new environmental shift, leaving my house, being thrown into a bunch of strangers who are all living their best lives, and I'm lame.
Yeah, we hear you. It's a lot of deep stuff. It's a lot of feelings do you feel like those are a lot of feelings that you've just been holding on to and just kind of putting down?
Yeah, that's exactly how it feels. It feels like it feels like a box. My feelings are like a box, and like it's been like wanting to spill for so long. It's like I had to force the box to close because all the feelings are stuck in there. And now that I opened it, it's like it all opened up, kind of like a soda that just wants to explode.
Yeah. And Jake, when you're hearing all these things, what does it make you feel or how can you relate?
I can relate for sure, like not with, well, kind of like I was discovering a little bit of sadness, in myself. So I can definitely relate to like that feeling, being sad. Uh but the way that like your analogy with the soda is kind of like how I am with my anger, like I have to keep a tight lid on it as well. But now, I'm hoping to like release that pressure, kind of in the same way that David is doing it now. So I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah, you see, this is the most amazing thing about group therapy. Being able to connect and being able to come together and be able to realize that we're not the only ones that are struggling with something, you know, and there's a lot of us struggling with the same similarities, you know, and those are important observations, that we can see here, you know, and through this, often meaningful relationships develop, when people get to share genuine feelings and are there to, you know, respond and react to them as well. Next thing I'd like each of you, if you're willing to, is to practice expressing something directly to each other, you know.
Mhm.
And here's the prompt. So Jake, what is one thing you would like people to understand about you?
I think I would like people to understand that I guess the way that I present is like very like guarded and closed off. But if I got the opportunity, to connect with somebody, I would probably take it. But the opportunity doesn't come that frequently because of the way that I kind of like present myself. Um, so I don't want people to think that like I'm always like angry or closed off. Like sometimes I'm just feeling hurt and isolated, but I don't really know how to express that.
Okay. And David, what is it like hearing that?
It's tough being vulnerable, but also hopeful, to be honest. I think in a scenario like this where our emotions are being out in the open, it's hopeful, and I feel like it's better that we can express them safely in a room like here, so it'll be easier, so we can do it in the real world. That's what I think, and I think it's hopeful and good, to be honest,
Nice. And then just the same question I had for Jake. David, what is one thing you would like people to understand about you?
that I have a lot to offer, but I wish I could be given the chance to prove myself.
Nice. Thank you. And how does that make you feel, Jake? Like when you hear him say that?
Uh, I can understand that for sure.
Yeah, and that's the beauty about this. We're each of us, are taken away, from hearing the other person's experience, and being able to get a full, not a full, but just starting to grasp an understanding, of what really brings us here and how all three of us can support and be there for one another.
Mhm.
Um, so we're nearing the end of our session. I'd like to spend a few more minutes reflecting on what we've learned. So Jake, what stands out the most for you from today?
I think I realized that my anger is not like my primary emotion. It just seems more like it's covering up my loneliness.
Okay. And what is one thing you might practice outside of group?
Uh, I'll practice like communicating with people, if because there's often times where I do have the chance to like take the initiative to talk to people and I don't. So maybe I'll every other opportunity that I get, I will actually try to make connections.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jake. I appreciate you. And David, what is one thing you've learned from today?
Talking about my feelings can help me feel connected.
Okay. And what is one thing that you might try to practice outside of group?
Um, Maybe try to find someone, you know, maybe like my RA when I'm struggling instead of withdrawing.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely something that you guys can both practice, and then we can see how it goes throughout the week and definitely connect on it and touch base on it. But before we leave, I just want to say thank you both. Today I saw each of you take risk expressing your feelings. That's not always easy to share. I also saw both of you respond respectfully and thoughtfully to each other, when each of them shared. Although, like I said earlier, Your challenges look different on the surface. We discovered common themes, of the loneliness, the hurting, the wanting connection. And my hope is, as we go through this and navigate through this journey together, we'll be able to gather an understanding of yourselves and have open and honest communication and being able to strengthen, a relationship, that we have here together. So thank you
Mhm.
both for participating today. Excited to meet you guys next time. And yeah, that'd be it for today's session. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate you.
Right. You. Bye.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.